ஆழ்வார் எம்பெருமானார் ஜீயர் திருவடிகளே சரணம், ஜீயர் திருவடிகளே சரணம். Sri Bhagavad Gita, 9th chapter. Krishna is explaining about Bhakti Yogam in this chapter to Arjuna. Bhakti Yogam is the process of attaining Bhagavan with the help of Karma Yogam and Jnana Yogam, with total devotion towards Bhagavan. This Bhakti Yogam can be performed just like Karma Yogam, Jnana Yogam. This Bhakti Yogam also can only be performed by Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, male members. This is because it involves yagas, yajnas and so on, which are only to be performed by those who have undergone Punayana Samskaram. This is the difference between Bhakti Yogam and Sharanagati, which we are going to see later. In Sharanagati, everyone is qualified to perform surrender to Bhagavan. But Bhakti Yogam, Karma Yogam, Jnana Yogam, all of these, they have minimum qualifications. Only those who qualify for that can be engaged in those processes. Still, Bhakti Yogam is greatly celebrated in Shastram, in Vedantam, as a proper means to attain Bhagavan. And Krishna is explaining the greatness of Bhakti Yogam in this chapter to Arjuna, because Krishna feels that Arjuna is very devoted and Arjuna has no jealousy towards Krishna. It is because of these main reasons. In the beginning itself, Krishna explained to Arjuna that this Raja Vidya, Raja Guhyam, the most confidential, the king of knowledge, is being taught to him, because Arjuna has no jealousy towards Bhagavan. This Bhagavad Gita has been explained in great detail by Emperumana Bhagavad Ramanuja in his Gita Bhashyam. Vedanta Deshika, Vedanta Charya has also given beautiful commentary in the name of Tatparya Chandrikai. Puttur Sri Krishnaswami Iyengar has written a Tamil commentary, elaborate one, based on these two existing Sanskrita Vyakyanams commentaries. Based on that, Puttur Swami's Tamil translation, where he has given word by word meanings also. We are seeing the English translation of that. Let us now see from the 8th shlokam. We have seen up to the 7th shlokam already. 8th shlokam. Prakritim swam avashtabhya visrujami punah punah bhutagramam imam krishnam avasham prakriter vashat. Swam Prakritim, my primordial matter, this is Moola Prakriti, which evolves into many forms, Avashtabhya, transforming it into 8 ways, Imam Kritsnam, Bhutagramam, all these 4 types of creatures, such as Deva, Manushya, Tiryak and Stavara, Prakrite Vashat, Avasham, since being bound by the primordial matter, and not having control over the self, punaha punaha visrujami, creating them again and again. So Krishna is explaining how he performs the creation. In the previous slokam itself he explained creation to some extent. Now he is expanding upon it. Here he is saying that the primordial matter, which is owned by Bhagavan, is used to transform from the state of being subtle to being in the visible gross form. So here in the process, he transforms the Mula Prakriti into 8 different ways. We have already seen that in the 7th chapter, Bhumi Rapo Analaha, saying that how he has 8 elements in this, 8 aspects in this matter. And in this manner, Bhagavan transforms the primordial matter into various creatures. That is what is said as Imam Kritsnam Bhutagramam. These 4 types of creatures. So the 4 types of creatures are Deva, Manushya, Tiryak and Stavara. Deva is celestial ones, the Devatas. Manushya is humans. Tiryak is animals, birds and so on, insects and all of that. And Stavara is all immovable objects, plants, trees, bushes and so on. All of these. So these 4 categories of species are present, and these 4 categories of species are created from the primordial matter. Primordial matter is the initial state of matter, and it expands itself into 24 different elements. There are 24 Achetana elements, which the first one is primordial matter, Mula Prakriti, and from there Mahan, Ahankaram, Indriyams, Panchabhutams and so on, they all come out. They all get transformed into these various entities. So Krishna is saying, from this primordial matter I am creating them again and again, and these entities, these Atmas, they are all bound by this primordial matter, the Mula Prakriti, and they have no control over their own self at this point. The Atmas are getting bodies, different types of bodies, depending on their karma, which Krishna is going to explain in the next shlokams. Ninth shlokam. Nachamantani karmani nibadnanti dhananjaya udasina vadasinam asattam teshu karmasu. Dhananjaya, O Arjuna, Tani karmani, those activities such as creation, etc. Udasinavatu asinam, being indifferent. Teshu karmasu asaktam, being detached from the inequality that occurs as part of such creation. Mam nacha nibadnanti, do not bind me by causing defects such as Vaishamya, Nairganya in me. So Krishna is saying that even though he engages in creation, the differences in various entities as part of the creation, they do not bind Bhagavan himself. That is because he is being indifferent while engaging in creation. That is, he does not have any favoritism. He does not say that this Atma becomes good, this Atma becomes bad and so on. He is letting all the Atmas acquire bodies based on their own karma. Based on previous karma, everyone attains their bodies. Hence, Bhagavan is not bound by any of this, because usually we will see that when somebody is born, they are born in wealthy family, someone is born in poor family. When someone is born, he is born with disease, someone is born in a healthy manner. All of these differences occur due to previous karma, previously accumulated karma that leads to this current birth. So Bhagavan is saying that because I let the creation happen without interfering into it, based on every Atma's karma, based on their own karma, I let them get the bodies. Because of this, I am not being affected with the defects such as having Vaishamya. Vaishamya means being unequal, being showing favoritism. Also, there is Nairganya. Nairganya means being cruel, being unkind. So, for example, if someone takes birth with a disease, even at the time of taking birth they have this disease, then one may, if there is no karma behind their birth, then Bhagavan will be blamed directly that he is making someone born with defect, with a disease. But because everything happens based on one's previous karma, there is no blame, there is no defect in Bhagavan's side, there is no favoritism, there is no cruelty in his side. Because he is only letting everyone get their bodies based on their previous karma. So that is what is being explained in this shlokam, that I am not being bound by any of these results in this creation. 10th shlokam. Mayadhyakshena prakritihi suyate sa characharam hetunanena kaunteya jagaddi parivartate. Kaunteya, O son of Kunti, Prakriti, this my Moola Prakriti, my primordial matter, Adhyakshena Maya, being instigated by me, who is the Lord, Sa Characharam, Jagat, the world which has movable and immovable objects, Chara and Achara, movable and immovable objects, Suyate, creates for the use of Atma, Anena Hetuna, due to this reason, of my sankalpa, my will, which is guided by the karmas of Jivatmas, Jagat, the world, Parivartate, he gets created, grows and gets destroyed. The world goes through the changes, creation, sustenance, growth and annihilation. All of this because of this reason where the Moola Prakriti, based on my instigation, gets transformed into different objects, gets associated with the Atmas. All of this are happening based on my own will, which is driven by the karmas of individual entities. Each Atma has its own karma, and that karma drives what body they all get, what body he gets. So this is happening. I am using the primordial matter and creating, growing and annihilating this world, and the Atmas inside the world get their bodies based on their own karma. So that is 10th shlokam. Then 11th shlokam, it's a very popular one. Krishna is saying that there are some who insult him, who engage in disrespecting Bhagavan due to their own ignorance of not knowing that Bhagavan has just incarnated in a human form. Avajananti mam mudha manushim tanum ashritam param bhavam ajananto mama bhuta maheshwaram. Muda, fools, mama, my, param bhavam, supreme state, ajananta, being ignorant, bhuta maheshwaram, being the supreme lord of all entities, manushim tanum ashritam, assume the human form, mam, me, avajananti, insult. Fools who are being ignorant about my supreme state, insult me who assume the human form, in spite of being the Supreme Lord of all entities. So Bhagavan, in his Krishnavataram especially, he saw many insult him, Shishupala, Duryodhana and so on. They all insulted him. Sometimes they knew it was Bhagavan, sometimes they were ignorant to understand it. In either case, they foolishly abused Bhagavan, insulted Bhagavan, and that is what is explained here by Bhagavan, that they all do it without understanding my supreme nature, without understanding my supremacy. They do that because they are fools. It is actually one of the main Bhagavat Apsharams highlighted by Shastram to consider Bhagavan's incarnations to be just humans or empowered humans. We should fully understand that when Bhagavan incarnates, he descends with his full potency. As it is, whatever power he has in Paramapadam, he has in his incarnations also. So that respect and that reverence should always be there. One should not just think that he is a human being or a superhuman being and associate with Bhagavan in that manner. One should fully understand that Bhagavan has, out of his own mercy, incarnated into this world for the benefit of everyone. So that is 11th Shlokam. And next is 12th Shlokam, explaining a little bit further on this concept of why they are insulting Bhagavan and what is the result of doing that. Mogasha, Mogakarmano, Mogajnana, Vichetasaha, Rakshasim Asurim Chaiva, Pratutim Mohinim Shrita. Mohini, that which hide my glories. Asurim Rakshasim Pratutim, evil and demoniac nature. Shrita, having attained. Mogasha, having useless desires. Mogakarmanaha, having useless deeds. Mogajnana, having useless contradictory knowledge. Vichetasa cha eva bhavanti, become ignorant, lacking in true knowledge. Having attained evil and demoniac nature, which hide my glories. Having useless desires, deeds and knowledge, they become ignorant. That is, lacking in true knowledge. So these people who insult Bhagavan due to their evil and demoniac nature, which hides the glories of Bhagavan from them, from seeing it. And due to that they have useless desires, useless deeds and useless knowledge, and they eventually become very ignorant. So those who are in this mode of disrespecting, insulting Bhagavan will have such useless desires, have useless deeds and useless knowledge, and they will remain ignorant. That is 12th Shlokam. With this we will stop today and we'll continue on with the next Shlokams in the next session. Alvar Emberumanar Jiyar Tiruvadigalai Sharanam, Jiyar Tiruvadigalai Sharanam.
To learn such valuable information about our Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya, please download Koyil, K-O-Y-I-L app from Google Play Store or Apple App Store. Our website is koyil.org, Koyil.org.